Ever since the abomination of a film called Justice League came out in 2017 and suffered mixed reviews, the DCEU has undergone a major shift from an interconnected Marvel-style universe, which I hope the Snyder Cut and other future projects can fix, to a more independent universe with loosely connected storylines. That said, each of the post-Justice League films have plenty of Easter eggs and references to the early films of the DCEU, like Batman vs. Superman and Man of Steel. And all these Easter eggs help to remind us that, as hard as it can be to imagine sometimes, that yes, the DCU is a shared and connected universe with a similar and regular canon. Today, I want to take a look at all of the Easter eggs and references that post-Justice League DCEU movies have had to their predecessors. Hi, my name is Dean and welcome to DC Chat. If you like this video and want to see more like it in the future, please make sure to go down below, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment down below what your favorite Easter egg is that I mentioned. To be clear, this is not an exhaustive list of every single Easter egg in these films because that would just take an extraordinary amount of time. This is just simply listing the Easter eggs and references to other DCEU movies only. Lastly, I should mention, I probably won't get every single Easter egg, so if you guys think I missed something, please make sure to let me know down in the comments below. But without further ado, let's just get straight into the movies, and starting with Wonder Woman. Alright, so the Wonder Woman movie that came out in 2017 was fairly dearth of Easter eggs that really related to the broader DCU, just due to its nature as a origin story for the character and the fact that it takes place 100 years or so before the main events of the DCU universe. But one of the most notable Easter eggs in that film was in the earlier modern sequence when Bruce Wayne sends the original photograph of Diana and her World War I counterparts to her at the Louvre Museum in Paris, where she currently works. And that was really significant for a couple reasons. A, because it caused her to reflect on the events of World War I. It was essentially like a storytelling mechanism that was used to take us back in time, and that's kind of how it got there. And two, it was a huge plot point in BVS because if you guys remember, after Bruce cracked Lex Luthor's hard drive, he went on there and he found the photo of Diana. It was his first real introduction to who she was, and also made him realize that she was a sort of immortal god. It was a really cool moment, and it was nice to see that moment kind of called back to here. And that was the only one I could find with Wonder Woman. I'm sure there's a couple other ones, so if you guys want to let me know down in the comments if you know any, I would love to hear it. Alright, so our next movie today is going to be Aquaman, the 2018 solo film that saw Jason Momoa's Aquaman fight with Patrick Wilson's King Orm and had a storyline centered around Atlantis, which I really enjoyed. And the first Easter egg with this one was towards the beginning when Arthur and his dad were coming out of the bar and or maybe it was just Arthur, I can't quite remember, but basically Mera comes out and she references Aquaman's fight with Steppenwolf.
He defeated Steppenwolf and saved Atlantis.
And of course that was referring to the Justice League film that came out just the year before, where Aquaman and the other members of the League team up to defeat Steppenwolf. So that was a really nice reference, and that's a nice reminder of Aquaman's position in the DCEU. The next one here, this was honestly my favorite Easter egg that came out of this entire video and just going through all of them. This was really cool. So as Black Manta is getting his armor for the first time, you can see him, he's on a deserted island, and there's a little piece of text at the bottom of the screen that says, "Somewhere in the Indian Ocean." Now they did this a couple other times in the film. There was somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean when I think it was one of the first Atlantis scenes or something. Again, I can't quite remember. But the Indian Ocean line, that was the exact same tagline that was in Batman vs. Superman when the young kids go down to the reef and pick out the kryptonite shard that came out of the Kryptonian ship. So I thought that was a really cool Easter egg in reference to that, and something that a lot of fans, even the eagle-eyed ones, probably hadn't noticed. The next Easter egg, well, this is really two, concerns a couple of other roles in the DCEU that some Aquaman actors have had. If you recognize the voice of both King Orm and the King of the Fishermen, this is the reason why. The voice actor who voices the Fisherman King, his name is, I can't remember his name, he actually voiced the wizard in the Shazam movie, which we're going to talk about in a second, who gave Billy his powers in the first place. Furthermore, the actor who played King Orm, Patrick Wilson, also voiced the President of the United States in Batman vs. Superman, who ordered the nuclear weapons to be shot at
God have mercy on us all.
So that was really cool, and nice to see that some of these other actors have voiced previous roles in DCU and I guess are coming back into bigger roles in other films. Lastly, this is a bit of a smaller Easter egg. It occurs in the beginning of the film when Aquaman is kind of telling the story of his parents growing up, and right after a photograph is taken of young Arthur with his parents, you can see that photo framed on a table, and right next to it is a small white box. Now you guys might just overlook that as another piece of jewelry, but it is in fact based off of the same design as the Atlantean mother box in Justice League. If I put a photo side by side here, you guys will be able to see the similarities. And I thought it was great that Queen Atlanta was able to bring some memory of her Atlantean heritage into her new human home. Now this last Easter egg here really connects the Aquaman movie with Man of Steel, the first movie in the DCEU. So basically when Aquaman first has his encounter with King Orm justifies his actions, or plans at least, towards the surface, where he talks about how the human world has polluted and dirtied up the oceans. And in that particular scene, you can see an oil rig that is blowing up. But that's not just any oil rig. In fact, that's the exact same oil rig that was present in Man of Steel, where Henry Cavill's Superman flew in there off his fishing boat and rescued the workers of the rig before it blew up. And after that, you can back in that movie, after Superman was able to save the people from the rig collapses and he is knocked unconscious. But a couple of moments later, you can see a couple of whales swimming by, seemingly helping him out. And Jason Momoa actually confirmed this out on social media, but those whales were in fact sent by Aquaman, and Aquaman was the one who also helped to rescue Clark from the rig. So that's a really nice connection that you guys probably wouldn't be able to tell from the film, but just looking at some external research and external statements by the actors, you guys will see to realize that it's true. Now the next movie we're talking about here is Shazam, and this movie has so many Easter eggs. It is absolutely crazy. And there is a Easter egg bonanza, that's right, in Freddie Freeman's room. There's just so much going on here. There's a Batfleck action figure. There's a Batfleck Batarang, the same style that he used in the Batman vs Superman fight in the warehouse. Probably not the exact same Batarang, but it looks very similar and probably the same sort of make and model. And also, this is a pretty big deal in the eyes of Freddy, but he actually has a shattered bullet that was fired at Superman. And that also reminded me of the first Wonder Woman movie where Diana and Steve are fighting the German spies in the alley, and the German spy shoots Steve. She sticks out her gauntlet like this, and the bullet just breaks in two. So I thought that was really interesting how the humans' bullets react the same way to both Superman and Diana, where they kind of just break into different pieces and don't actually hit because their armor and suits are kind of preventing them from being killed by just simple bullets. But anyway, that's still a great Easter egg. There's also a Time magazine showing the attack on Metropolis shown in Man of Steel. You can see the Kryptonian mothership above the actual city. And then you can also see a Daily Planet headline of Superman's return, basically saying that Superman's alive. So also, in addition to being a great Easter egg in reference to the newspaper, it also tells us that the movie takes place after Justice League, which is very helpful when you're trying to make a timeline of the DCEU. And then there's this other scene. I'm not sure if it's actually in the movie because I've watched it and I haven't actually seen it. It might have been a deleted scene. But there is a moment where Shazam and Freddy are talking about a fish, and then there's a sort of reference to Aquaman's ability to talk to fish, when Freddy's also wearing a Aquaman logo t-shirt. And that was just a really cringy trope that was played up in Justice League, where Bruce Wayne would consistently remind Aquaman, basically saying, "Oh, do you talk to fish?" And it was just like,
I hear you can talk to fish.
Do you talk to fish?
Really? That's the best you could do? It's just so weird. I don't know. I never really could envision him saying that, and I just never really liked how that was used. So there's that scene, and again, it's just a nice reference to Aquaman in this movie, since there's a lot of other references to Batman and Superman. And then lastly, there is a scene where Freddy and Billy are working on, I guess, training their powers, where Freddy's kind of filming him and he's just showing off different powers. And during one of those clips, you can actually see they're at an abandoned Ace Chemicals plant. And Ace Chemicals is a very important location in the DCEU and also the DC universe at large. It was shown in Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey, and it's basically where, I guess, Joker and the Harley had one of their first interactions. Not the first, but I guess when they really, became a couple, so to speak, and really found out they loved each other. Obviously, they had plenty of prior interactions in like Arkham Asylum and stuff, but that was just a really huge moment for them, and of course, it gets blown up later in Birds of Prey. Speaking of which, Birds of Prey is our next film that we're going to be talking about here. And also in that movie, you can see that Harley blows up the Ace Chemicals plant in Gotham City as a public sign that she and the Joker have broken up, that they are done, not a couple anymore. And again, like I just said, that was a direct reference to, I guess, the overall mythos of that in the comics and how it's a really significant location to both her and Joker. And also we can see a couple cameos of old Jared Leto Joker footage. First in that particular moment when she's blowing up the actual Ace Chemicals plant, and also later when, I believe it's when she's talking about Black Mask's new driver, you can see that, I can't remember quite what they did, but you can see a photo of her and the Joker. Maybe they're like drilling on his teeth or something. Again, I can't quite remember. It might have been a tattoo, but I'll put some images on the screen that will hopefully clarify this for you guys. Next up is when Harley's in her apartment. She mentions how she actually has a pet hyena who she named Bruce after that
hunky Wayne guy.
And of course, that's a reference to the Bruce Wayne in the DCEU, how he's a bit of a, I guess, larger figure than someone like Christian Bale or Michael Keaton. He's not overweight or obese by any standard, just his body type is that kind of larger, more imposing figure than some of those other characters are. So that was really cool, and it made you realize which Bruce Wayne she was referring to. And also when she's in the GCPD during that fight scene, which is extremely well choreographed, by the way, you can see a photo of Digger Harkness, also known as Captain Boomerang from the first Suicide Squad movie. She goes up to him and she says,
Hey, I know that guy.
so that's him, and I cannot wait to see both Harley and Captain Boomerang back again in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Lastly, there's a couple little Easter eggs in Harley's little box at the amusement park that's shown in the ending fight. First of all, you can see a katana blade, which of course is reference to Harley's work with Katana in Suicide Squad, the 2016 film where they kind of teamed up. She was part of the team. I'm not sure it's actually a blade from Katana, but at least a reminder of the two's history together. You can also see the exact same shirt Harley wore in that movie that says Daddy's Little Monster on it. And again, that's a reference to Harley's outfit in Suicide Squad where she had that shirt on. It was actually an extraordinarily popular Halloween costume, by the way, even if Margot Robbie didn't exactly love wearing it. And that is it for Birds of Prey, so let's go on to the last movie on our list, which is Wonder Woman 1984. This movie, like the first Wonder Woman, is a bit disconnected from the overall DCEU as a whole, except for just advancing Diana's character and overall character arc. But there are a couple of references in here to prior movies that, or especially the first Wonder Woman movie that I thought I should mention here. When we're first introduced to Diana's apartment towards the beginning of the film after she saves the people at the mall, there are plenty of Easter eggs and references to both Steve and the Wonder Men who she met in the first movie. And first of all, we can see a photo of Diana with an older woman who is actually confirmed to be Etta Candy, who is Steve Trevor's secretary in the first film. I assume that she's probably in her 80s or 90s by the time of Wonder Woman 1984, so I guess she probably passed in the period preceding the movie. Furthermore, there's plenty of references to Steve's existence. We can see the watch that he gave her towards the end of the first movie. We can see a photo of Diana at Trevor Ranch. That's obviously a reference to Steve Trevor. I'm not sure if it's maybe a ranch that his family owned or maybe she bought it in his honor. Not quite sure on that. We can also see a couple of World War I headlines concerning the mysterious death of General Ludendorff of Germany, which of course we know Diana killed him because she thought he was Ares and he wasn't. We can also see a photo and headline of Steve being declared a local hero. So that is really cool. And then lastly, there is a photo of the Wonder Men, specifically Charlie and, oh, what's the other guy's name? I can't quite remember. But Charlie and the other guy, they're at some sort of wedding, so that's really cool. But yeah, that is all of the Easter eggs and references that I've noticed in the modern DCEU movies. Obviously, as more and more come out, there's going to be even more references and callbacks to those prior films that I mentioned. And hopefully with the release of the Snyder Cut, there can be more projects that are greenlit that are more interconnected and don't just have only these passing references to remind us of the shared universe. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new, and please make sure to let me know down in the comments below if there are any things or any Easter eggs or references that I might have missed, because I always like deepening my knowledge of this kind of stuff. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.